Welcome back to What She Said. All right. Got a lot to talk about. I was gone. I missed y'all yesterday. I hope y'all missed me too. But a lot took place while I was gone in just one day. Last time I saw y'all, we had a jersey number conversation about Shedeur Sanders and what his jersey number would be for the Browns. We had LeJounte, who completed his jersey presentation with Baltimore. It was kind of a tearjerker. It almost made me cry. It was very cute. If you haven't seen it, it's on the Ravens YouTube page. And Jimmy Horn Jr. with Carolina today in camp, flexing that top speed that he has. So, and then there's Shiloh. So last I saw y'all, Shiloh was packing up his residence in Boulder and moving to Tampa. So I saw images of Shiloh practicing. Today was the official first day of work for the guys. Now, I don't know if y'all know this, but none of the guys get paid until the first game. And I think it's a kind of controversial thing because the first game technically isn't till like August. So essentially, our guys, the Forever Buffs, Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, there's at least 15 of the 16 that were eligible to be drafted, or 14 of 16 draft eligible Colorado Buffs that are in the NFL. And everybody has to try out. Now, some players have signing bonuses, but I don't know when they get them. So if y'all know when they get the signing bonus, y'all let me know. I think most players might have a signing bonus, even down to like rounds 5, 6, 7. It's just obviously different from, the first round. So they don't get paid until the first game. That's a long time to go with no money. So imagine if these guys did not have NIL. So like Shedeur, Travis, Jimmy Horn Jr., they all have NIL to tide them over until they get paid. But imagine if your family doesn't have a lot of money, or you yourself, didn't have a lot of NIL. Yeah, you got to stick it out until the first paycheck. I'm like, oh my God, maybe we need to put together a care package or something. But in the NIL era, everybody gets paid something. So nobody's broke, but it is a long time to have to pay your cell phone bill. It's a long time to have to pay your rent until the first game. Now, some people will not make the 53-man roster. So essentially, this is an investment in themselves, win or lose. So if you, from now, which is what, May until August, you're footing the bill yourself. That's right. You're footing the bill yourself in hopes of getting to the game check. So Terry Crews talked about getting to the game check and how he lived on $200 a week, training, hoping to make it to the NFL, and then he got cut. Sad story. I'm sure there's a lot of stories out there. Maybe we need to find one or find somebody so they could tell us their NFL training camp story and how, they didn't make it to the game check and how much it cost them, etc. So we'll be talking about rookie MiniCamp today, checking in on our buffs. Of course, we'll be talking Shedeur Sanders. He shared photos of his locker, Shiloh's jersey number. LeJounte has a new jersey number. We'll talk about the impact and what people think about, who has what jersey number and things of that nature. So let's see who's in here. Okay, so we are already hot and heavy. We already going. All right. It says you were missed. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Gracie. So Gracie says I was missed. I appreciate y'all. I missed y'all too, because I was traveling, but I was thinking, I was like, I should just go live right here. It was about 2 a.m. and I was in New Orleans. And I heard earlier the day that President Trump announced that the NFL draft will be in Washington, D.C. in 2027. And I said to myself, where's the 2026 draft? So here's the thing. The NFL clearly needs protection. And number 47, who referred to them as stupid during the draft, saying that if they wanted to win, they would, draft Shedeur Sanders immediately. A few rounds later, Shedeur Sanders gets drafted. And next thing you know, President Trump is announcing the draft. So I told y'all that I felt like part of his speaking up had something to do with what could benefit him. And I shared with y'all that a friend of his who's a billionaire, whose name is all over the University of Houston, all over UNLV, Fertitta, wanted to buy the Saints. And I told y'all that the Saints aren't for sale, but that after the draft and that horrible draft decision, and they have just totally killed the vibe in the city. I didn't even want to be in the city for 5 minutes. It was empty. It was nothing to look forward to, just a few stragglers on the street. And the vibe is just different. With Shedeur potentially going to the Saints, everybody was looking forward to Shedeur going to the Saints. It was exciting, gave you something to look forward to. Now it's just stragglers on the street. That's it. No vibe, no music. A lot of the restaurants were empty. The lively places that are generally lit up. And I don't know if y'all know, but New Orleans is a tourist town, not just for weddings and etc. But it has the cruise industry. It has ships that dock there. So the city was sparse. And I said, they killed the vibe because we could have had so much to look forward to with the Saints, but that's their problem. We got a lot to look forward to with the Bucks. Shiloh is wearing number 28. We saw a sneak peek of him in practice. He looked good to me. Now, here's the thing, I don't know, if these guys are going to make the team or not. Of course, I would like to think so. But if they don't, I wonder, do they have contingency plans? I heard Travis Hunter has a contingency plan just in case he didn't make it to the NFL. And congratulations to Travis Hunter, who actually graduated from the University of Colorado and was able to walk in his ceremony. Initially, he didn't think he would be able to walk because, he thought rookie minicamp, would prohibit him from leaving, but it hadn't really officially started yet. So congratulations to Travis Hunter and some of the other buffs who graduated, So it's a lot going on. Like Travis's schedule is crazy, but he's a ball of energy. So between getting drafted, now rookie minicamp, graduating at CU, and he has a wedding coming up in about 2 weeks. Travis Hunter will be getting married after rookie minicamp, and then I'm sure he'll probably take some time off. They'll have a honeymoon, and then he'll come back and get ready for actual camp. And Travis is also the face of the Jacksonville Jaguars, so we'll be seeing Travis a lot. So let me see who's in here. Let me say hi. Okay, so all right, the chat is buzzing. Queen T, hey, how you doing? Nice to have you back. Bo too, thank you so much. Good evening. Gracie, thank you so much. All right. So I'll let everybody engage in the chat while we talk about. Let's start with Shedeur Sanders. Okay. I don't like the Cleveland Browns at all. In fact, I think the Cleveland Browns are Shedeur Sanders' biggest hater. We were talking about that before we went live. I said, who do y'all think Shedeur Sanders' biggest hater is? And I was like, is it the NFL? Is it the Cleveland Browns? The head coach, the GM? Because it's not the players. Not even the guy with the number 2. During the draft, you could say his biggest hater was the NFL. But now, to me, Shedeur Sanders' biggest hater is the Cleveland Browns. And I want nothing more than him to be traded to Jacksonville. I pray for it on the internet. People like it. He's too good for Cleveland. Here's Cleveland's problem. Cleveland has a bona fide star in Shedeur Sanders. We all know it, right? And the impact that he's already had on the organization's social media alone, I'm not saying they should be bowing down to him, but they need to stop acting like he is a random 5th round pick from some JUCO that they never heard of. He is not table scraps. He technically could be the future of the organization, but instead of capitalizing on his football skills that people flock to see, they want to try to create a participation trophy league. And they kind of want to keep Shedeur out the way so he doesn't get all of the attention. There is nothing you can do about that. It's just a reminder that y'all are a horrible organization. This young man is a star, and you drafted him like he wasn't. So trying to pretend that he's not by trying to keep him off of the social media pages, when every time you see him, there's 200,000 views and likes, whereas everybody else is maybe 11,000. Mason Graham has some pretty decent numbers, but nobody is in the 200,000s consistently when you scroll on their social media. So they need to act like he is exactly who he is, a football star. They don't have to treat him like a celebrity if they don't want to. But Cleveland's mistake is they're treating Shedeur like he's not an actual number one QB that was in the draft. They're treating him like he's a relative unknown. No. And that's the mistake they're making. So I hope Shedeur goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I hope that that's what the number 12 jersey was. See, people thought Shedeur selected number 12. No. Cleveland assigned Shedeur number 12. And I'm like, why didn't y'all just let him have his number? Like Cam Ward has his number. Travis Hunter has his number. And to act like Shedeur is not already that guy and not give him his number. You want to give him a random number like he has to earn it. He already earned it. Shedeur has nothing to prove. Absolutely nothing. People are on the Cleveland social media page saying, Shedeur, wherever you go, we will follow you. We will watch, including Canada. I hope it's Jacksonville. I think Cleveland is a miserable organization. 40 quarterbacks in 25 years that took snaps as a starter. 40. So I was thinking when I was traveling, because it was 13 hours, I had a lot of time to think. I said, I think it's a blessing in disguise that Shedeur Sanders did not get drafted number 2 to Cleveland. You know why? Cleveland's a quarterback killer. Yeah, a quarterback killer. They went and got Joe Flacco off the couch at the age of 40, knowing he has to compete with the physicality and the speed and the strength of 23-year-olds. They went and got Pickett from behind Jalen Hurts. I have no idea why. The Deshaun Watson contract, that's on Cleveland. That's on Cleveland. They chose to give Deshaun Watson $230 million. And to say on March 31st that they took a big swing and they missed, as if we missed with Deshaun Watson, so we're not going to draft a quarterback. It's asinine, first of all, because that has nothing to do with Shedeur. And you still gave QB1 money to Mason Graham. So you spent the money anyway. You said you took a big swing and missed to justify not taking a QB, something you desperately need. And now you have 5 QBs. You have Deshaun Watson that you owe $46 million to. $46 million this year and next year. Then you have Kenny Pickett, who seems lost in the middle. And then you have Dylan Gabriel, who's a Heisman candidate on the stage. And then you have Shedeur Sanders, who's also a Heisman candidate. So today I saw Shedeur Sanders throwing the ball around, looking good, not surprised. Some people were like, he looks just as good as he did in college. He's been that guy. And then you have Dylan Gabriel, they're like, oh, that was an effortless 40-yard pass. So Cleveland, most companies would be trying to highlight the 2 young Heisman candidates vying for the top spot, but it's kind of stupid. And the reason why I say that, somebody got to go. It's too many people. It's 5 people. It's only 4 spots. So I put a poll out there asking y'all, what Browns QB is going to be gone? Is it going to be Flacco? Is it going to be Pickett? Is it going to be Gabriel or Shedeur? I didn't even have room to put Deshaun Watson. He's out injured for the year. I don't see him going anywhere. And even if they did get rid of Watson, you still have two Heisman candidates at 3 and 4 on your depth chart behind a 40-year-old and a relative career QB2. How do you capitalize off of that? Do you invite fans to come figure out, is the old guy going to get the boot? Is the relative QB2 career guy, is he going to get the boot? Are you going to highlight the competition between two Heisman candidates? And if you do, is either of them going to emerge as QB1? No. So do we really want to see a competition between two Heisman candidates for the third and fourth positions? That's the situation Cleveland has found themselves in. And technically, it's their karma. It's their karma because they ran after and chased Shedeur Sanders down. And after the collusion and number 47 in the prank called out the obvious, they had to take him. But the fans are not here for Cleveland treating Shedeur like they found him at a JUCO just sitting on the bleachers on a what's that, Hard Knocks, one of those football shows that used to be on Netflix. That's not who Shedeur Sanders is. They're trying to downplay the fan base that he has. They're trying to keep him out the media so other people can get shine. You can't change that. Think about in the NFL. Who is it that the reporters flock to? It's not everybody. It's either the QB, the star player, the one that did well, or the one that was awful. It's not everybody. It's not a participation trophy league. You're not going to have Shedeur Sanders sitting in the corner with nobody wanting to talk to him. In fact, everybody will want to talk to him. Well, how do you feel? Or do you feel like you're getting a fair opportunity to compete? That's what people are saying under the comments on Cleveland's page, which I absolutely refuse to follow, but I will like Shedeur Sanders content on there. Good luck to the rest of the guys too. But let's make no mistake about it. I'm here for Shedeur Sanders. I have never watched anybody's rookie minicamp. I wanted to get a glimpse of Shedeur Sanders on the field. He looked good to me. Do I like that he's wearing number 12? No. But I hope it means that he's going to go play for the Jacksonville Jaguars with number 12, Travis Hunter. That's what I hope. Do I like the fact that they didn't let him choose his jersey? No, I don't. Because again, Cam Ward was able to pick number 1. In fact, it was retired, and Warren Moon unretired the number 1 jersey to allow Cam Ward to wear it. Travis Hunter has his 12. Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, and Cam Ward are the 1, 2, and 3 of the draft. But only one of them is being treated like he's on last chance you or something. I don't like the Cleveland organization because not only are they inept, they don't know how to conduct business. You have 2 Heisman candidates, and you got to figure out, is your 40-year-old QB going to start or the backup from Philadelphia? And here's another thing they're doing. Understand this. Cleveland is trying to figure out how to keep from looking ridiculous because they drafted Dylan Gabriel, but then here comes Shedeur Sanders. So they put Shedeur Sanders behind Dylan Gabriel, trying to save face. Because if they put Shedeur Sanders third on the depth chart in front of Dylan Gabriel, guess what the media is going to pounce on? Well, why did you draft Dylan Gabriel? It doesn't make any sense that you actually drafted him before Shedeur, and now Shedeur is on the chart before Dylan. So maybe you just wasting this kid's time. Maybe. I feel like it's Shedeur Sanders' time they're wasting because they're trying to protect their decision-making ability, that they went and wanted to get Dylan, but they didn't want Shedeur. But they must not know. They told us how many times and extensively that they met with Shedeur Sanders. What they thought we forgot? No, you wanted Shedeur Sanders until your owner threw y'all under the bus and said y'all took a big swing and missed with Deshaun Watson and you still needed QB, but you gave a defensive tackle QB money. So you could have had Shedeur Sanders as QB1 on with his number 2 jersey, and sales would be skyrocketing. I don't know if anybody wants the 12. I don't want that. I don't like the fact that he and Cam are technically the same quarterback. Shedeur, Travis, and Cam are the 1, 2, 3 in the draft. And out of Travis and Cam, they're being treated like they were desired, and Shedeur is being treated like table scraps. That's the first mistake they're making, because you can't even capitalize off the fandom. And that's what they don't want to do. They want to act like he doesn't have 3 million followers, something that they probably don't even have. They don't even want to capitalize off of it. They want to act like they don't see it. So now you don't want to see his star power as a QB, that he's already elite. Shedeur has nothing to prove. Nothing. If anything, not only was the NFL itself exposed during the draft, now Cleveland is being exposed as the circus that it is. So I hope Shedeur Sanders goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars expeditiously. That is my prayer. I'm sick of Cleveland. I'm like, you know what? I don't like to use the word. I don't like y'all, but I loathe this organization. I really do. And I didn't even know much about them before. But based on what I know now and how I see them moving, Shedeur is too good for Cleveland. Cleveland is a bottom feeder of a team. So, so y'all let me know. Let's see. Let's check on the poll and see who's voting. The question was, who has to go? Right now is Pickett. Now let's talk about that scenario. Okay. That's going to be a mistake, because what? Before the draft, they went and secured the services of Kenny Pickett. And my question was, why are y'all removing QB2 from behind Jalen Hurts? They just won the Super Bowl. Let that man believe he has the opportunity to go back as a QB2. Let him get that opportunity, that when Philadelphia goes back to the Super Bowl and they run it up again, Kenny Pickett gets to play. But in Cleveland, is he going to get to play? Probably not. And not because of Shedeur or Dylan Gabriel, because they probably won't get to play either. But because Cleveland thinks that Flacco is the solution. Even though he's 40, and there is an impact with that, especially when you're competing against the physicality and speed and strength of 23-year-olds. So now they have to save face to get the fans interested, because they're shunning Shedeur and want to keep him out of our view. They're going to try to highlight Flacco and the nostalgia that he brought. And it was great that he was great. Keyword, it was great that he was great. But should you mortgage the farm on a 40-year-old quarterback? No. They already had Deshaun Watson. You go get Flacco. And you got 2 Heisman candidates. You didn't need Kenny Pickett Jr. So now Kenny Pickett technically should be the one to go. Honestly, yes, because it makes absolutely no sense to have him there. What is the point of you getting 2 Heisman candidates and have them sitting there twiddling their thumbs? It's a waste of their time. It's more of the same. It explains why Cleveland has had 40 quarterbacks take snaps at starter in 25 years. They don't know what they're doing. That's obvious. That's obvious. You passed on Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders. You could have had the dynamic duo in Cleveland, but you didn't want to get that because you didn't want to get Shedeur, so you traded away Travis. Then you get Kenny Pickett Jr. I don't know why. Knowing, according to you, after courting Shedeur Sanders exclusively and then discreetly courting Dylan Gabriel, if you were doing all of that, at what point do you go, let me get Kenny Pickett Jr.? That is the incompetence that this organization brings, and I can't stand it. I can't even stand to watch this kind of incompetence. It's a waste of everybody's time. There was no reason that they should have been still courting Shedeur Sanders and discreetly interviewing Dylan Gabriel. At one point, you knew it was going to be Dylan Gabriel after March 31st when the owner said, what? We took a big swing and missed. Then you should have cut bait with Shedeur. And you didn't cut bait with him. Y'all tried to humiliate him, and then you got called out, so you had to get him. Expeditiously. So watching some of the other rookie mini camps was refreshing. Tampa Bay, their coach, listening to him, Boyles or something like that, talk about, the players coming in. Shiloh's wearing number 28. Another guy has on number 21. So let's talk about that. Now, all of these guys have to make the team, right? Shiloh is an undrafted free agent. So how do y'all feel about somebody else wearing a 21, Shiloh wearing a 28, and technically maybe that's okay because he may or may not make the team? Or do y'all feel like he should have got the 21? Just let me know your thoughts in the comments. Is the 28 for Shiloh cool because he has to make the team? Or drop the 21 if you think Shiloh should have worn the 21 out the gate? Let me know your thoughts because we know who his dad is, right? All right. So that's where we are with that. Just waiting to see what y'all say. Right now, Kenny Pickett is 49% to be the one to go leave Cleveland. I didn't realize that Gabriel is shorter than Shedeur. Yes. So Dylan Gabriel is 5'11. Now, it's not like he's 5'8 or 5'7, but for a quarterback, they typically like 6'1, 6'2 and taller. Like Shedeur is 6'2, Cam Ward is 6'2. So that seems to be preferable. And I do believe that is one of the reasons why he was a late round draft pick because of his height. But Drew Brees also was a shorter QB and was highly successful in New Orleans. And then Kyler Murray is out there again on the West Coast, and we rarely see him. But he was not as tall in stature either. But I don't think he has the pedigree right now and the success that Drew Brees has had. So if you do a search for quarterbacks under 6 feet and how successful they were, Drew Brees comes to the top of the list. So, again, Cleveland making very baffling decisions there because what the hell? So here's the thing. You drafted him late because he's short. But is this what you hanging your team on? Or is it you hanging a team on the 40-year-old guy? So it must be the 40-year-old QB, the career QB2, and a quarterback that's 5'11. That's what I mean by boneheaded decisions. And then they shunning Shedeur Sanders like he's not 6'2 and elite and the most accurate passer in college. They got Shedeur behind Dylan Gabriel. I hate this organization. There, I use the word HATE. Just awful decisions. Just awful decisions. Oh. So, yep. So they got 6'2 Shedeur behind 5'11 Dylan Gabriel. You're a Clevelander. Bo too? Oh, okay. Bless you. The city itself might be nice. I've been to Cleveland. Cuyahoga County is what I recall. I remember some decent restaurants, seafood restaurants, blue something. But yeah, I can't speak on the city. But the organization itself, yeah, that's a head case. Let's see. So yes, Dylan is shorter. It says Shedeur just broke and said that the rookies paired up. Yes, he's by himself. He's isolated. None of the rookies paired up with him. Yep, he did. He said he's isolated. He's by himself. Let me just say this. Cleveland is treating Shedeur as if he's not going to be there. I picked up on that early on. Other than the fact that they look like they didn't want to have to take him, but they did. They're treating him like you're not going to be here. We already have too many people. So Cleveland looks like their starting four is who's documented in their depth chart. Flacco, Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, and of course Deshaun Watson. So I don't think Shedeur is going to be in Cleveland, which is why I think they gave him the number 12. Whether it's an inside nod to the fact that he's going to Jacksonville, no point in us getting hyped and you being number 2 and your fans getting comfortable because we're not keeping you. That's really what it is. That's what it's given. Now, I don't like it. I don't like the way they're treating him, but I don't know this whole trade situation, but I will say this. Trade talks are starting to pick up. So y'all know we were talking about Pac-Man Jones being on his own podcast, and he's an insider. And he initially said that the plan is for Shedeur to go to Jacksonville. that Jacksonville is trying to find somewhere for Trevor Lawrence to go. I said, just call Cleveland. Just call Cleveland and send him over there. Like it's not a no-brainer. They already don't know what they're doing. Just take him too. So that was the first statement that he made. Shedeur's going to Cleveland. They trying to unload Trevor Lawrence after they paid him $200 million. And now the second statement was, we're getting closer to that. It looks like it's Jacksonville. The plan is for Shedeur to go next year. And then Coach Prime shows up. I'm like, now that is a twist that I didn't expect. And his co-host, who has a podcast, Shapiro, said, yeah, I heard the same thing too. I have no idea what the hell is going on, that would even be a possibility, because one of the reasons Coach Prime signed his contract before the draft is because he did not want a coach to feel threatened and shun his players. Oh, if we get Shiloh, his dad's coming. Oh, if we take Shedeur, his dad's coming. So he signed his contract with Colorado specifically to avoid that. So I don't know where the Jacksonville talk is coming from. It could just be more of the same. But I hope that's what the 12 represents. You're not going to be here. You're going to Jacksonville. So yes, he is isolated. He is being treated like he's temporary. It's a holding place. And I do believe that was always the case. Remember, they didn't want to draft him later on. Initially, yes. But they were like, we took a big swing and missed. So that's why they took Dillon Gabriel, because they didn't consider him a major investment, because he went in the fourth round? But they still gave a defensive tackle QB1 money. So again, a mind-boggling decision. And I watched Cleveland play. Their defense wasn't that bad. It was the offense that was a problem. That's what they had, Jameis Winston, who's now in New York as QB3, I do believe. The Browns as an organization, yes, it's terrible. I mean, I really ache for Shedeur Sanders to be associated with that type of what's the term? Mediocrity. See, this is what I was saying. The kids coming out of CU have been tutored by someone who's highly professional at what he does. Coach Prime. Y'all know he takes their development seriously on and off the field. He's particular about them having a GPA. The team cumulative is 3.0. Travis was probably an academic Heisman at 4.0. A lot of the guys, are learning to be a professional at this thing. And I talked about this. I said, imagine going to CU and it being ingrained in you that you have to give it all you got, dot your I's, cross your T's, be a professional at this, take this seriously. And you go to one of these Mickey Mouse organizations that's just run like a treehouse club. That's Cleveland. Now the Titans, they could be the same thing. But one thing about the Titans, they appear to look like they have it together. That's an appearance that they give. At least the Titans give up the appearance that they're professional. Cleveland does not. Cleveland looks like they're just in a room. Yeah, I don't know. What do y'all think? I mean, it's no strategy to it. It's no strategy at all. What was the strategy in getting Flacco, getting Dillon Gabriel, bringing in Kenny Pickett Jr., having Deshaun Watson, and then taking Shedeur Sanders? What is the strategy in that? The strategy was to get Shedeur Sanders at number 2. And then that got blown up because the owner, who knew that Deshaun Watson's contract is what it was. You knew that when college ball was ending, but yet you still pursued the number 2 QB in the draft. Like you were serious, but you weren't. You were performative. And now you got a mess on your hands because you was out here playing Mickey Mouse. And now you're wasting this young man's time. And we all are annoyed by it. Annoyed. I want to see this young man get some serious work in this summer, not be isolated, given a number like he's some cast off from somewhere, when the rest of his peers who are elite and drafted at the top of the class, like he should have been, but Cleveland was wasting his time, is just giving scraps. I don't like that at all. That's just more of the same with this inept organization. That's why I said the NFL needs oversight. They clearly are not capable of avoiding unethical situations and buffoonery. They just ruining these young people's careers. 40 quarterbacks in 25 years? That's a lot. That's excessive. And they all stay for 2 years, coach for 2 years, quarterback for 2 years. It's like they're intentionally mismanaging the team because they don't care about the competitive sport of football and winning. It's like it's a flex that I have the ability to pick people. So every year, every 2 years, I get a new quarterback. It's just a revolving door. So I think that it's a blessing in disguise. He wasn't the number 2 pick. Now, I don't like the fact that it affected his money. I don't like that at all. And I saw this supposed post by Tom Brady. And some people say it's real, some people say it's not. So here's the thing. It doesn't matter if it's real or not. Let's talk about the subject. The subject was Tom Brady went number 199. Who knows better than it's not where you get drafted? It is where you get drafted because your money is affected. We're talking $70 million down the drain because Cleveland wastes this man's time. And because New York decided to run around and defame him because they really wanted Jackson Dart, but didn't want to go on the record for taking a lesser talented QB. So I had to make it look like Shedeur Sanders is just not good. So we just went with Jackson Dart. They already got their lie together for when the team is lousy this year, when the owners already have them on the clock, that they go, well, you can't fire us because we couldn't get Shedeur because he's entitled. That's why they did all of that. Then it was going to rub Shedeur Sanders' face into it because of Jackson Dart. Ha. We took Jackson Dart instead of you. You will never take a Shedeur Sanders. You have never had a black starting QB. So nobody thought that. I don't even think the media believed it, even though they kept talking it up over and over and over. I really feel like New York was like, damn, the media insists that he coming to us. Let's put up some type of defense so we don't have to take him because we really want to get our guy from Ole Miss. That's all it was. And that's why I was livid, because you don't tear down an individual because you prefer somebody else. That's between you, your GM, and your fan base. I don't give a damn if you're sorry. I really don't, because I don't watch you. I don't pay you. I don't give you my time. I don't give you my money. So how dare you tear down excellence because you want and prefer somebody else that has nothing to do with talent? That's on you. And if you notice, that situation has been quietly pushed under the rug. The defamatory statements, the fact that they were backing off from the interviews, and what? The prank caller with the Ole Miss sweatshirt and a connection to the New York Giants. Quietly dismissed. But we did hear that Trump announced that in 2027, the draft will be in Washington, D.C. They need him to protect them because that's just one lawsuit. To be honest with you, I was thinking about that too. I said, to be honest, this is a class action lawsuit. And honestly, it should be $10 billion. And I was like, the reason why it's $10 billion, you just got sued for $1 billion and you still out here being racist. So it needs to make an impact. It needs to send a statement. Either sell your team or get it together. But you're not going to be out here being racist. You're just not going to do it. Put your personal biases where they belong. Not in business. So it should be a $10 billion class action lawsuit because fans were dragged and encouraged to watch a staged public humiliation. So that's what it should be. So they need him. That's why he announced the NFL draft. They need him. They need him to make sure that the Justice Department doesn't pick it up, that there's no investigation, that the New York Attorney General doesn't come their direction. But if he's impeached or gone, so it's telling you who's running the league. They bow down to him. So, yep, it's just more the same. And it says, I'm trying to read y'all's comments. It says, so yeah, Queen T, he is isolated. He did say that. I'm glad we're all on the same page about Cleveland, at least most of us. And for those who are Cleveland fans, we mean no harm and disrespect, but y'all's organization is basura, straight trash. And I hate that our guy, who's good, went to a Mickey Mouse shop like that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's 104 of us. There are 50 likes. Let's see if we can get up to 104 likes. Likes are important for YouTube. It helps the algorithm find the channel. Thank y'all so much. Let's see if we can get those likes up. It said, Gracie said, honestly believe that has taken his last snap in Cleveland. Deshaun Watson? Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you, Gracie. I don't think Deshaun Watson ever was truly supposed to play for Cleveland. I think Deshaun Watson's contract was a ruse. I was talking about this weekend. I want you to think about something. Deshaun Watson, before he got to Cleveland, had 22 lawsuits, right? Alleged misconduct, and he had to start settling those. And then he gets to Cleveland and gets a raise. He went from $10 million with the Texans to $46 million in Cleveland. So all the money that he paid out in the settlement, and we don't know how much it is, the NFL gave it back to him when they gave him a guaranteed $230 million. I smell a cover up. I smell a cover up there because they likely colluded against him when he asked for a trade. And they didn't like that. They felt like, how dare you, right? So he still got his trade a year later, but his reputation was tarnished and he had to pay these settlements. Well, guess what? Let's just say he paid out $100 million in settlements. They gave him an additional $130 million. So every settlement he paid out, the NFL technically gave him the money back via this contract. Why do you think they don't drag Deshaun Watson? They just drag the contract and the person that gave it to him. So for the owner who clearly knew he was buried under Deshaun Watson's contract to say, we took a big swing and missed, and that's the moment when they started pivoting away from Shedeur Sanders, you knew this before the draft. So is the owner incompetent, or was he in on the setup to lure Shedeur Sanders in, make him think he's getting drafted and drop him like a hot potato? Because he was definitely going undrafted. I think he was in on it. I think he was in on it. And I think that's why they're upset as an organization that they had to take him. Think about it. They were already pursuing him. Even an NFL insider, Matt Schefter, said, I'm confident of one thing. Cleveland is using a number 2 pick for a quarterback. And then after the GM says the big swing and miss with Deshaun Watson, March 31st, on April 2nd, that same NFL insider came back and said, well, I'm not so certain that they're getting a quarterback. But they were still meeting with Shedeur Sanders, which explains why the head coach Stefanski was heard telling Shedeur, I told you God works in mysterious ways. So they were still meeting with Shedeur, even though they were backpedaling on Shedeur. And Stefanski probably was in contact with Shedeur and said, we'll see what God does. God works in mysterious ways. He sure does. He sent the most unlikeliest ally ever to call out the league. And this young man gets drafted, and then the unlikely ally gets to announce the 27 draft in Washington, D.C. Come on now. Hit the like button, please. Get the likes up for me. We're 120 in here. We're 58. Hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. Please do not be stingy with the like button. Thank you so much. So let's see if I can share this. So I put together like a slideshow. I'm on a different platform, so I had a little bit of a learning curve. Not that it was difficult. It's just, it was time consuming. So we're going to see if I can get it on the screen. All right. So I put some photos here. All right. Now y'all should be able to see. Now that's Shedeur and Travis. This photo is symbolic because I hope this is where the number 12 comes in at, that Cleveland assigned to Shedeur and that he's going to Jacksonville. I want nothing more than Shedeur Sanders to be traded to Jacksonville expeditiously. That's all I want to hear. I don't want to hear nothing about Cleveland at all. And they're treating him like they know it's a temporary stop. And, you know, Coach Pollock came out and said they were lying on Shedeur. Notice you don't hear anybody from New York saying anything else. They were the only organization to defame him. And now it's crickets. Crickets. And Trump gets to announce where the next draft is. If that was anybody else in the Oval Office, they would be deep, deep in trouble. So this is Shedeur with his jersey number. And I said, dear God, please, 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 please let Shedeur get traded to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Please, expeditiously. In Jesus' name, amen. That is my prayer every single day. I am so over Cleveland. Because they don't know what to do with elite talent. That's what their organization's legacy and history have proven since 1999. They don't know what to do with elite talent. They destroy it. So it's good, in my opinion. He didn't end up going QB2. It negatively affected his money. Will he be like Deshaun Watson and end up with a $300 million guaranteed contract because there was collusion from high within? We all saw it. We all saw it. So will we hear that Shedeur Sanders is getting a trade much like Deshaun Watson did? And just like Deshaun Watson went from $10 million to $46 million, Shedeur Sanders will go from $4 million to maybe $400 million because he definitely has a case. And they definitely reaching out to number 47 because they need protection. They know they sent out his phone number to 2,000 people. They know it's one lawsuit out there and there could clearly be others. And the nature of the lawsuit brings awareness. See, people don't understand. Sometimes lawsuits are to bring up what's really going on. You think the NFL want to sit down in court and say, let people drag out all of their racist activity, unethical activity? Now, how did Deshaun Watson get a $230 million fully guaranteed contract, something no other NFL player has had after he had to settle 22 civil lawsuits for misconduct? Now, how does that work again? They don't want people asking that question because there's an answer. He wasn't the only one. So it's a cover-up. Now, how is it Shedeur Sanders gets drafted or wasn't going to get drafted because y'all took him off the board? You colluded against him, which is an admission of guilt. And then you push him down. He eventually gets picked up in the 5th round. He's only supposed to make $4 million after you courted him. And technically he was going to make $70 million. But you decide all of a sudden that you remembered you had Deshaun Watson's contract that you've been having since 2022. Further collusion. You played with this young man's time. And now he's in your organization. He's not even on the depth chart. He's isolated. He's not paired up with anybody. You treat him like he's temporary, not like he's the 1, 2, or 3 elite talent in the draft. That alone makes me want to sue Cleveland. It's ridiculous. The NFL spends billions of dollars to get our attention and to get us emotionally involved with these players. Let me tell you how. First of all, as Colorado fans, we were emotionally involved with Shedeur before he got to the NFL. And the NFL was so egotistical, they thought they were introducing us to Shedeur, and the lies that they told us that we didn't know who he was and what they were. The NFL did not introduce Colorado's fan base or anybody else to Shedeur Sanders. Coach Prime never sold Shedeur. We watched him play. We formulated our own opinion. The Baylor game is always going to be that game that told you who he was. So to me, the NFL tried to sell us on who they wanted us to believe Shedeur Sanders was, and we didn't fall for it, and it has backfired in their face. It has backfired in their face to the point that they're out here pandering for protection. That's right. Cleveland gonna be next. They are out here mishandling this young man. He is an elite talent. You do not allow people to mishandle anybody, and you definitely don't allow people to mishandle a $70 million investment. Just because you changed your mind at the last minute and didn't want to give it to him does not negate that that's who he is. You are just the idiots. That is what Coach Prime was concerned about in 2018 when Shedeur Sanders was 16. That the Cleveland Browns is an organization that young QBs should steer from because they don't have it together to develop QBs. They only upset, delay, or damage their careers. So, yeah, it's a good thing he didn't go get drafted. But now we got to talk about how he going to get this money. And to me, he gonna end up with more than 70 million. He gonna end up with a contract like Deshaun Watson. And the fact that he is in Cleveland should be a reminder to them that they done messed up once and had to take Deshaun Watson. Now you have to take Shedeur Sanders. Don't think they didn't have to take Deshaun Watson. If Deshaun Watson was the only person in this scenario, he wouldn't even be in the league. He was not the only person. And that's what they get for trying to rub his nose into the fact that they don't see him as equal. And how dare he, as a quarterback, ask for a trade because they look down on black people. But you keep hiring black people to make you money. So this is what happens when you exploit people for money. You get caught up. So, like, they had to take Deshaun Watson and they had to give him a $230 million guarantee. They had to take Shedeur Sanders, and somebody gonna have to pay him. Somebody is going to have to pay him. I don't care how much you pander. Enough $100 million lawsuits is $1 billion. And if it becomes a class action and $10 billion, you're going to have to answer some questions. Because when you get a class action, I'm going to need you to answer what's really going on here. We might actually have to talk about this. Maybe Congress want to look into it. You have 100 or 1,000 people who are NFL fans suing you because of the staged public humiliation of Shedeur Sanders, something you have worked hard to do when it comes to NFL quarterbacks that are black. It's a repeated pattern in history. That's why the lawsuit should be $10 billion. And it should be a class action because they dragged us and lured us. We thought we were going to watch and see where Shedeur was going so we could know what jersey to get. But they had planned a staged public humiliation. And we're not here for that. So that's what it should be. $10 billion class action lawsuit because you're not new to the discriminatory practices against black QBs. You keep doing it. So you need to pay. That's how lawsuits get those kind of price tags. Because you have done this before. This is a pattern of abuse and behavior. You think they want to talk about that publicly for everybody to know that they believe that black NFL players' brains are lower and inferior to whites? They just saying that white people are superior to blacks. You think they want everybody hearing about that? Not that it's not out there, but they don't call attention to it. A lawsuit would. All right, y'all. 122 of us. Awesome, awesome, awesome. 68 likes. Okay, y'all, come on. We got to work on the likes. I don't know if we got to sing a song, dance, do what we got to do. Don't be stingy with the like button. Get the likes up for me, please. Moderators, thank y'all so much. I think we have 2 or 3 moderators on it tonight. If a person can sue McDonald's for a cup of coffee hitting his lip, yeah, the NFL, I'm telling y'all, this is a lawsuit. This is a bona fide lawsuit. Don't be surprised if you look up and see a post that says if you experienced emotional distress during the NFL draft at the stage humiliation of blah 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 blah. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. See, the person that filed the suit first is representing himself. And honestly, I could represent myself. Y'all have heard me talking about how I felt. Y'all saw me in emotional distress the night of the draft to the point people were like, "Are you okay?" And I had to take a day off after that. I am hella consistent. If I ain't on the road for 13 hours, I'm live. And I said it, you know what, guys? I'm going to have to log off and I'm going to have to take the day off. So, yes, there's a connection. That's all you have to establish is that there's a connection regarding the situation. Yeah, they use Shedeur as the most popular player in the draft to lure us to come watch, thinking we're going to find out where he's going to play when they weren't going to draft him at all. And they wanted us to watch that. Who did the NFL think would be entertained by the public humiliation of Shedeur Sanders? You clearly don't know your audience. Because I clearly was not entertained by that. So that's why the 2027 draft is in Washington, D.C. Because we don't know what a 2026 draft is. I don't even think anybody cares. The point is they need protection. So don't be surprised if you see a lawsuit come your way. Don't be surprised. Blue Devil. It said, hey, salute. Thank you, Blue Devil. Thank you. Thank you so much. They using him to be the face, but don't want to pay the man. Right. They don't even want Shedeur to be the face of Cleveland. I was looking at their social media where they had apparently interviews. Um, and I didn't see one with him behind the microphone. I saw Shedeur outside, waiting. You know, they said it was Coach Stefanski's birthday. He was like, y'all was supposed to bring a cake. I applaud Shedeur. His nickname grown is definitely something that he really is. I don't think a lot of young people would be able to deal with that type of betrayal, because that's what that is. You know, he was in the rooms with the owners and the commissioner having a casual conversation at the Super Bowl. Cameras were following him everywhere, and they know who he is. He was having a conversation with Jerry Jones. I just think that they didn't like that he seemed to be on the same level with them because he was in the same room with them. That's their insecurities. That has nothing to do with Shedeur. He's a star. You can't deny it. And that's what Cleveland is trying to do. It's going to take the fans to call Cleveland out. But I'm sick of Cleveland. I just want Shedeur out of there. He's too good for that organization. Just because you didn't draft him like you were supposed to at number 2 does not mean he's not elite. You're just incompetent. And that's what they're trying to prove. Well, we didn't get him. We got him for cheap in the 5th round. So we treat him like that. Y'all gonna get boxed on. That's what y'all gonna get. Y'all gonna get boxed on. Because if I see you at Costco, I'm gonna run over your foot with the shopping cart. No. How dumb do you have to be? Well, because he slid or he was pushed down to the 5th round, we're gonna treat him like that's where he actually belongs. That's the level and the caliber of talent that he has. 5th round talent. Who are you trying to convince with that? Surely not his 3 million fans that have been following him since Jackson State. And some been following him since high school. And some who were traumatized with this situation been following him since Coach Prime had those reality shows, which are still on social media. And people are still putting the clips out. So a lot of people were emotionally distressed by seeing one of their faves since he was in middle school be treated this way. So that's why the 2027 draft is in DC and Trump announced it. Shedeur will interview tomorrow. Okay. Oh, thank you for that, Kay Hayes. Jerry said, I wonder, is the rookie team isolating him on purpose? They're treating him like he's in Cleveland is just a holding place. That's how they're treating him. And it's like they don't want him to get too engaged with the program because he's not going to be here. So the caption for today's show, trade talks, Shedeur Sanders trade talks are starting to ramp up, is a reality. We had already talked about it with Pac-Man Jones. The first time he said it, that they were trying to unload Trevor Lawrence on anybody. I'm like, they could clearly send him to Cleveland. So I don't know. And they want to be strategic about where they send Trevor Lawrence. And y'all know why. So if we can fix that. And then all the people that bought the jerseys. You see what I'm saying? You knew you were going to do this. You knew he was temporarily in Cleveland. You know you weren't going to give him number 2. So now a lot of people going to have a Browns jersey with 12 on it. I don't want that. I want to wait for the turquoise jersey. Hopefully it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. I will be in Jacksonville. I'm actually looking forward to that. I hope it happens. I really do. I mean, honestly, they were nice to Travis in his opening interview. That was a little weird talking about, we got you. Like something going on that he don't know about. So they're going to be his support system, which is cool. I love how they welcomed him in the office areas and he was doing his little dance and they was in the hallway like singing. And I love how they welcomed him with open arms. I want that for Shedeur. I don't think he's getting that in Cleveland. I'm sick of Cleveland. So because they treat Shedeur like he's temporary, I refuse to follow them. I just like the post with Shedeur. I agree and pray for Shedeur to be traded daily. Yep. All right, 77 likes. Okay, we're close. 124 of us. Please hit the like button. So let's talk about this picture you see on the screen. Okay. We have what? We have Shedeur Sanders standing next to his Maybach, right? And this goes back to the Super Bowl. Shedeur Sanders and his crew came in from Dallas. They drove 7 hours in a Sprinter. You saw Shedeur sleep at one point, right? And it seems to me that his not just his wealth. Shedeur has some of the same sponsors that the NFL has: Gatorade, Nike, probably Delta Airlines. And that is intimidating to them. Their excuse that they gave is that he cares more about his brand than he does the team. That young man has never acted that way. So they want to penalize him because he has star power. They are insecure because he has star power. They want to be the ones to shine bright. And here comes this young black athlete who grew up wealthy, valued at $6 million. Yeah, we don't want quarterbacks like him because we're not going to be able to make him submissive. That's what it is. I've said it. They don't want this for their white quarterbacks, just the black ones. So they look at Shedeur Sanders as, yeah, he probably not going to be submissive. No, he not. And why do you want that? That's really the issue. Let's talk about why you want that. Because you're having these plantation fantasies that when you're actually getting ready for the draft, you're getting ready for a slave auction, which is why you tried to separate him from his father. You don't want his father to help him because you want him to end up in an inept organization where they're going to mismanage his career so his star won't shine bright. That's not going to happen. If anything, they should realize he has a serious fan base. Yes, somebody actually commented on the one of Cleveland's page when the fans was going in on Cleveland about the way they treating Shedeur. This was before this week. This was like when he first got there, how they were acting very condescending towards him with the welcome message, but they were very welcoming and engaging to Dylan Gabriel. And fans were calling it out. And one commenter said, this is why no team wants him. I'm like, because he has a fan base that's going to hold them accountable. So back to what Trump said. Are y'all stupid? You shunning this man when he's clearly chasing greatness. He's descended from greatness. He's greatness already. And this is who you don't want to draft. So if you want to win, you will draft him immediately. Because even he saw that they were shunning greatness. They were shunning billion-dollar opportunities to capitalize off of star talent. All because they want black players to be submissive to the NFL, but the white players don't have to be submissive. And Cleveland is doing nothing but maintaining that ridiculous farce as if Shedeur is not talented when they know they were going to pick him at number 2. Who y'all fooling? Yes, he has a fan base. Yes, we're going to hold you accountable. More lawsuits incoming. And that's what they don't want to be. They don't want to be held accountable. They don't want anybody to call them out for expecting their black players to be submissive or for discriminating against the black players or for holding the white players up and overpaying them, even though the talent isn't there for some of them. Like Trevor Lawrence. They're trying to find somebody to take Trevor Lawrence. It wouldn't be difficult if you didn't overpay him. Maybe if he was actually good and you had paid him $250 million, another team might want him. But the fact that nobody wants him tells you that you overpaid him. And if there were teams out there, if you ask me, who wanted Shedeur, but they knew they couldn't stand up against the other owners because that's how they move. They did the same thing to Lamar Jackson. This man, after defying the odds of them trying to shift him to wide receiver, he not only gets in after the mockery of sharing his cognitive test results and saying that mentally he just wasn't on the same level. They did the same thing. That's why people were comparing Shedeur Sanders' draft situation, public humiliation, which was staged. They did the same exact thing to Lamar Jackson, which is why it needs to be a $10 billion lawsuit. You have done this so many times. And we're not here for it. And who you going to do it till next year? Because you did it the year before. And if they can't humiliate him in the draft, they're being sacked excessively. Or they're being benched behind Kirk Cousins. And then they have to come and save the season. For the people that say, what about the 3 quarterbacks from 2024? Caleb Williams was sacked 66 times, and they say they have to fix him. And he was a Heisman winner. also labeled generational talent, and now they got to fix him because they don't want to admit he was already greatness. I told y'all Jaden Daniels probably getting ready to be CJ Stroud in his sophomore year because the minutes that left the Texans got sent to Washington. So we're going to watch Washington and we're going to see if Jaden Daniels ends up getting sacked excessively in his sophomore season, just like CJ Stroud. And we're going to see which elite black quarterback they put as QB2 behind somebody that probably should be retired. So they can prevent another black QB1 from leading the team. We have a lot of things to watch for. So this is Shedeur, obviously looking like he's in Boulder. This picture to me is why the NFL, were trying to downplay his abilities because they have some of the same things that he has in this photo. They have $300,000 cars. They have sponsorships with Nike. Nike made a shoe specifically for Shedeur for the draft. They have the same sponsors. They have the same cars. They probably have the same level of mansion, palatial, whether it's a townhome or, with $300,000 swimming pools. He has what they have. He was in the same rooms with them at the Super Bowl. And it wouldn't surprise me if that's where this entitlement starts because they're like, he's having casual conversations with Roger Goodell. Hey, can you let my brother record? Just casual conversations. Nobody else probably would even be able to get that close to Roger Goodell. Having casual conversations with Jerry Jones. I don't even know what they were talking about, but I recall Jerry Jones saying, yeah, we probably gonna have to do a lot of trading. And then he's like, Dion, that's mine. Don't know what that was about. But Coach Prime was in the room. Shedeur was in the room. And I believe there were people who were not in those rooms and they knew Shedeur was there. And they look at it, the Shedeur is only in this room because of Coach Prime. That's how they were looking at that. The haters, the anonymous assistant coach who would never be in that room. They jealous. He already has arrived to where a lot of people in the league who work for the league will never get there. I believe the Super Bowl and being in that room with the exclusivity that was in that room is where a lot of people got jealous. He's entitled. Remember the guy, the anonymous source said, and nobody cares who your daddy is. Apparently you do. And y'all know Coach Prime was at the Ring of Honor the night before or the night after they were in those rooms with all that exclusivity. Not everybody could just walk in there. In fact, I didn't see anybody else outside of Shedeur and Bucky. So yeah, they're jealous. The people that work for the league, that are coaches, they might feel threatened that Coach Prime gonna slide in because they know how much the league thought of Coach Prime. Or so we thought. They probably infighting. Why did you have to tear down Coach Prime like that? There are owners who would love to have gotten Travis and Shedeur. Probably the Jacksonville Jaguars. And it might happen. But he couldn't get him in the draft because you can't go against us. What if he's the newest owner? What if he's not Caucasian? Is he going to really buck the system? I get him in the trade. That's probably why these conversations are beginning to ramp up and take off. Pac-Man Jones knew what he was talking about. And when his guests came back and they discussed it for a second time, and they said, yeah, I heard the same thing. That's where we headed. That's what I think the 12 means. I don't know if he knows it or not, but Shedeur probably does. I'm sure his dad is trying to keep him head above water. Don't let this bother you. Don't let this diminish what you have going on. Don't let this distract you. I believe he's in Cleveland temporarily. I think they only drafted him because the prank and number 47. The combination of the two, legal probably called up and said, hey, y'all going to have to draft him and y'all going to get sued. And they got sued. And it's not the last lawsuit. That's why Trump announced the NFL draft in DC in 27, and we have no idea what a 26 draft is, nor do we care. They need protection. They have done a lot. And a lot of it's out there, but the media who is, in my opinion, aiding and abetting the NFL, refuses to talk about it. When the collusion case was announced that they were guilty of collusion right before the Super Bowl, it even said it was little reported that they are guilty of collusion. Was it reported why Deshaun Watson ended up with a $230 million contract? It's probably not going to be reported why Shedeur Sanders, when he's traded, also ends up with triple digit millions. Something that's more than what he got because of how he was treated. Because it could turn into a lawsuit. And if you can see that the fans have already started and there are other people working on theirs and probably strategically going to issue them, they need protection. They're guilty. They are guilty. They didn't care what their fans thought. They encouraged us to watch this. They lured us to watch this. They used Shedeur so we could watch it. Shedeur was the most popular player in the draft. So Cleveland trying to treat him like he is on the next episode of Last Chance U, living in his mama's garage, trying to make the team. They picked the wrong one. They picked the wrong one. So this picture, I put it in here because I do believe that when they say he's entitled, what they're not saying is he thinks he's on our level, because he is. He is. Y'all were all in the same room. So he's on your level. And you know his star is only going to get brighter. And these people want to be the focus when we don't even see them. What do they say about Jerry Jones? Can you please take a step back? You are killing the team. You are doing too much. These people want to be the star of the show, but they're not out here throwing and catching footballs. They just supposed to be making strategic decisions to build winning teams, but they out here playing with people's livelihoods. They're using their personal biases and their preference to build teams, and they don't care if they win or lose. And then out of desperation, they're out here defaming innocent people as if they're fans, and fans have no intention of holding the NFL accountable or these teams. So now they're running and ducking for cover and trying to get protection. See, when you throw stones, you better be ready for the backlash. And they clearly did not expect the backlash. How did you not expect 7 million people to feel some type of way about a staged public humiliation of the best, most popular player in the draft, the best quarterback, the most NFL-ready quarterback in the draft, who's the son of a legend that we see with y'all all the time? That was betrayal at the worst levels. And whether the text message about Tom Brady was true or not, when you hear people say it doesn't matter where you're drafted, that is a lie. They do this to black players all the time, especially QBs, push them down in the draft, negating their career earnings. While the other players, the white players, are making $26 million, and they're making 9 or 4. And they're missing out on a $30 million signing bonus. It does matter where you get drafted. If you are a quarterback and you are drafted in the second round or later, they do not expect you to start, which is why they were going to push Shedeur to undrafted free agent to make it harder for him to ascend to QB1. Because why? He would have been number 17 of 32. If they were going to give him a jersey number, that's what they should have gave him. Him and Milroe, 17. Because that signals that black quarterbacks, the starters, would become the majority of all starters in the NFL. A feat that is not something to be taken lightly, because if you have done any of the research and you see how hard they made it for these guys, tearing them down as individuals, mocking their intellect, saying that they're inferior to white QBs, all because they have a preference of who they want to be quarterback, whether they're talented or not. And the NFL is actually willing to negate the brand of competitive sports to achieve their preference, because they do not want people that they believe are inferior, which are black people, to be the majority of starting quarterbacks, which is a role and a position that they covet in their league. If they tried to ostracize Deshaun Watson because he merely asked for a trade, they look at it, how dare you think that you have any kind of power around here? They want these players to be submissive that are black. So how dare Deshaun Watson ask for a trade? Who do you think you are? or I'm going to show you. But they were short-sighted. He wasn't the only one. And that's why he has $230 million fully guaranteed, something no other veteran has had. Like, we stupid and don't know that you don't reward that type of behavior if that's really what happened. But that's what you was going to use, and you didn't stop to realize you about to expose the whole damn team. You about to expose people that you typically protect. So they were going to discard Deshaun Watson. How did they think he was the only one? I said it when it happened. Y'all really think that the front office didn't know what was going on? He's not the only one. But they wanted to use that against him because how dare he think he can have that kind of conversation where he can make that type of decision for himself. They expect these black players to be submissive. And that's not submissive to ask for what you want, to have a choice. And it blew up in their face, which is why he had to settle 24 settlements. And technically, they gave him the money back. The $230 million technically paid for them lawsuits. How do you explain going from $10 million to 46 per year for 5 years? So the history is ugly. They don't want people to talk about it. They definitely don't want a congressional hearing. They need protection. And they probably have it as long as some conditions are probably met. I told y'all, don't be surprised if the Saints come up for sale or there's a quiet changing of the hands and the last name of the Saints owner becomes Fertitta. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. So, the number 12 to me is hope that he's going to Jacksonville just like Pac-Man Jones and whoever Shapiro is, his guest, said that is the plan. I don't know why they're dragging it out. I'm ready for them to cut bait from Cleveland and move on to a better organization. I liked how they embraced Travis. It was very family friendly. It was fun. They know he liked to dance, so they were singing a little song for him in the hallway. And I know he felt welcomed. And I want that for Shedeur too. Now, I don't know why it was Jacksonville that came up, but I know one thing. Jacksonville going to be sold out as long as Shedeur and Travis Hunter are the dynamic duo. Tell me I'm wrong. And that's something that owner probably wanted, but couldn't go after because they colluded. All 32 teams decided nobody's going to take him. And I told y'all, when people do stuff like that, that's like you having friends and y'all are, let's say y'all are going shopping, right? And y'all all going out and y'all need like a dress or something. And every dress you pick up, this one person is just negating, right? And y'all all decide y'all gonna wear different colors because not everybody want to wear the same dress. Y'all know what I'm getting at. There's always that one person that there's certain people in the group that stand out. And they're like, nah, you shouldn't get that dress. That's not cute. And it actually could be cute. I think that's what's going on with the 32 owners. They're incestuously close, so they control who gets who. So no one team outpaces the other. How is it 32 teams? Out of 32 teams, not one team was going to get the MVP, Lamar Jackson. Not one. That's a little disgust as well. They did the same thing to Shedeur. 32 teams decided to take him off the board. So none of us can get him. And I know one of the teams who probably had light attendance, who probably wants to win, who wants to get that money, who wants to capitalize off Travis and Shedeur, even though Cleveland couldn't get it together and do it. They probably wanted that, but they knew they couldn't get it for themselves because how is it that they owners move in lockstep? They are incestuously close. And sometimes people are close to you so they can keep tabs on you so you don't get more than they have. That is not something I would want to be a part of. I want to make my own independent decisions. We are all owners here. We might all get a check for $250 million, but I want to win. And if you don't, that's on you. But I want to get a Travis Hunter and a Shedeur Sanders, and I want to replicate what they had at CU for my organization so I can be sold out for the next 4 or 5 or 10 years because I'm definitely going to extend them and give them 5-year contracts upwards of $200 million each to keep that going. And the fact that they don't tells you that some of these owners who are probably new to the situation or might not be white probably have to do what they say. What you think we're going to let you in this group? and we gonna let you make all the money? No. It's probably a pecking order and a hierarchy of the oldest owners getting the ability to say so. Well, we don't want to get Shedeur. So nobody can get Shedeur. That's what they do. That's what they do. That's what they've been doing since I know documented since 1934. Well, we're gonna ban black players from the NFL because random white people don't have jobs. And it doesn't look good that black people are making money when white people don't. What the hell is that? But that's exactly what they did. That's why I said that lawsuit brings awareness. It brings conversation. It brings one step closer to discussing publicly what's been happening and nobody talking about it. So I don't have a problem with it. I just think it's not high enough. $10 billion. After research I've done, they've been doing this. And they weren't going to stop, and they aren't going to stop if they are not held accountable. $10 billion. So that's what it should be. Cleveland will not make a trade that will benefit Shedeur. I think they will release him. Well, if he put on waiver wires like the email that was sent out with his phone number, somebody gonna get him off the waiver. See, I said the same thing too, Jerry. When Pac-Man Jones was saying that he's going to Cleveland. Now, mind you, he didn't say how he got there. I'm not saying he said that they gonna trade for him. I'm saying that he said he gonna end up in Jacksonville. Now, my question was exactly what you said. So Cleveland, who already did do the right thing, gonna do the right thing and release Shedeur? Mm-mm. But that's how they act. They really are acting like they know where he's going. Remember, they sent out Shedeur Sanders' phone number to 2,000 people who did not need to know in an email and in an attachment. You know, you can attach a document to an email. They attached a report known as a waiver wire transaction report. So they were making fun of the fact that Shedeur is giving us his new phone number, but he getting ready to get cut. Now, personally, I think it's going to upset fans to hear that Cleveland just released him with no other team in the conversation. That's not going to go over well at all. It's not. I'm telling you, it's not. They might want to make a trade. And what they might want to do is set it up that, yeah, we got too many quarterbacks. And we think Deshaun going to be here next year. So since we got Shedeur Sanders last, we're going to go ahead and make a trade with Jacksonville. And fans going to be happy because the dynamic duo are going to be back together. See, you got to be strategic about how you make your next move. Because if your team, if you cut Shedeur Sanders and y'all sorry, oh, your fans going to revolt. Your fans going to revolt. And you will forever be incompetent. You had the opportunity to get the dynamic duo yourself. And then you release Shedeur and you let Jacksonville claim him off of waivers. And then he goes on to be successful in Jacksonville while y'all just stumble and go through quarterback after quarterback and nothing comes of it. And you end up with 3-14 again and again and again. And all you have is 11 draft picks that don't materialize into anything. And I wouldn't care because I would never look at that organization again. I like their colors, but they really are not good all the way around. We're not just talking about football talent. We're talking about business, conducting business, making business decisions. A business is supposed to be run to be successful. A sports league is supposed to be built to be competitive. I don't even know what the hell their motivation is. And the way they treat Shedeur is definitely not to win. It's definitely not to win. And with the league being majority black, y'all have to understand, they don't care if these players win the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is for the players. Why you think Dallas look like they're not interested? The case was filed in Georgia. I read it. Yeah, by John Doe. Yep, it sure was. Sweet Caroline. Yep, it was filed in Georgia anonymously by a John Doe. Sure was. They'll trade him because they don't want to pay for a 5th round draft pick. Okay, that's what they should do. They should do whatever benefits him. They already messed up already. And how do you say We took a big swing and missed with Deshaun Watson, and now you done took another big swing and missed. And then after you trade Shedeur or you cut him or whatever you're gonna do, then you refuse to give him the number two, and then you end up being 3-14 again. And Shedeur goes on to be successful wherever he goes. It could be Canada. Hell, I don't care. We going though. We gonna watch. And they not trying to capitalize off of that. That's what I said. What is their motivation? You clearly don't want to win. Some people say the Browns are a dumping ground for situations where the league has messed up and they got to fix it, and that's where Deshaun Watson ends up at. So that's kind of true, right? The league messed up where Shedeur Sanders was concerned. They were exposed for their staged public humiliation, collusion, something they were just found guilty of in February, that they've been fighting for 2 years. And honestly, it does stem from the Deshaun Watson contract because he got a fully guaranteed veterans contract. The rest of the veterans wanted one too. And they were like, nope, we're not giving nobody else one. So they stood 32 together, locked arm, and said no. And they were found guilty of collusion. Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray. So that tells you they had to give Deshaun Watson that contract. They knew it was going to cause a problem, but they still had to do it. So that tells you what the priority was. I need you to fix this. So they had to fix the Deshaun Watson situation. But why? Because they colluded against him from the beginning. All he did was ask for a trade and he still got it, but he got $230 million. So Shedeur Sanders probably going to end up with the same, something like that too. They're going to have to fix that. They're going to have to fix it. They're going to have to fix it. It's just one fan publicly right now. There are other people out there that have lawyers drafting up things who are waiting. They waiting for the right time. They waiting for another move to be made. If they release Shedeur Sanders, like that waiver wire joke, see, there's a moment a joke goes from being funny to being cruel. And when a young man turns in his phone number to the NFL and they send his phone number out to 2,000 people who don't need to know, and they attach a waiver wire with it, and they sending it to everybody, it's so everybody can have a good laugh. Ha, ha, ha. He's sending us his phone number, but he don't even know he getting cut. But 2,000 people knew he was. So if they release him on waivers, just like the joke was the prank or the humiliation that they were emailing around, if it goes just like that, there's somebody out there waiting to send their lawyer a thumbs up. That's collusion. You're trying to humiliate him within the organization. And we know the NFL already lied and tried to cover up and scapegoat the Atlanta Falcons. That tells you what they're capable of. Cover-ups just come natural. What else was covered up? That's what lawsuits bring forward. What's really going on? Let's talk about it. And y'all know congressional hearings, everybody looking at it on TV. Everybody gonna hear. So now, who was it that sent out the email? Now, when did you send it? And why did you put a waiver wire with it? So you was making fun of him and the whole organization first, behind his back. And then let me get this right. The phone number that 2,000 people got ends up in the hands of one person who is associated to the one organization that defamed him and lied on him. And he wearing an Ole Miss sweatshirt, and you drafted a quarterback from Ole Miss who's not better than Shedeur. So what's really going on? They don't want that to come out. That's why we know where the 2027 draft is. Trump announced it, and it's in DC. And we have no idea what the 2026 draft is. And nobody cares. They need protection. If Browns cut Shedeur, it's not bad, family. No, it's not. It's not, but they need to go about it the right way. And the reason why they need to go about it the right way is because his phone number was sent out to 2,000 people who did not need to know, with a waiver wire attachment, which means just like they knew he wasn't going to get drafted, they already knew he was going to get cut. And all of this is staged. And that's going to be bad. That's going to be bad. And it's going to trigger us some more lawsuits. Believe me, it will, whether you hear about it or not. We don't hear about every lawsuit that gets triggered. We just hear about the ones that some people think are shocking. Some people said the fan was insane. I said, you might think he insane or not, but there are people that want to join that lawsuit and make it a class action. I say, add me because I have evidence, and I'm going to need you to increase the price. $100 million is not enough. If you know and have studied the NFL, it's a drop in the bucket. Not because they got it, because of what they have already been guilty of and have gotten away with. More of the same. So yeah, you're right. If he leaves Cleveland, it's not bad, but they're gonna have to go about it the right way because everybody's not on this podcast hearing what we're saying. One, we want this. We want him the hell out of there. We want him to go to Jacksonville. We don't even want him to go anywhere. We want him in Jacksonville, not anywhere else. Jacksonville, because we know they have a QB issue, and Shedeur could go there and start. So they're gonna have to abandon their little plot to prevent elite black quarterbacks from becoming QB1s, thereby making them Shedeur the majority. We have to wait to see how this circus play out, right? And every day I feel like it's antagonizing. Okay, 89 likes, 133 of us. Please hit the like button. Just take a moment, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. We had almost 1,000 subs in the last 2 weeks or so. So thank y'all that are being new to the family. Y'all are coming back every day. We only going up from here. So you heard it here first. After Pac-Man Jones said it out loud that Jacksonville looks like the next place for Shedeur, that Cleveland is temporary. So when you see them isolating him, not giving him the number 2, he's being kept aside. It's because they're working on something where he's going to the team he will likely play for. I hope it's Jacksonville. It makes sense, and it would actually fix what Cleveland messed up. There was an opportunity for the dynamic duo out of Colorado who had their jersey retired, and rightfully so, to go to the NFL together. Cleveland botched that. And when the GM was asked about it, he said he didn't realize that he traded away Travis Hunter and that he traded up in the 5th round 2 picks to get Shedeur in the same 5th round. So he probably not going to have a job because his contract is up in 2026, and I wouldn't do it. And it should tell him that the only reason they hired him is for the Deshaun Watson contract. So you heard it here first. Trade talks are increasing. We hope and pray is Jacksonville expeditiously. And I hope he get the number 2. And jersey sales gonna go through the roof because I'm getting one. I'm definitely getting one. I will be in Jacksonville. I heard they have a pool in the a swimming pool inside of their stadium, which is owned by the state or the county. So Jacksonville sounds like it's nice. I know they have a beach. But if y'all have any good things about Jacksonville, let me know. I know they got a Whataburger. So it's definitely worth making a trip because I miss not having a Whataburger. I think they have one in Marietta, but I'm not going out there. So yeah, please release Shedeur. So yeah, the way they go about it is either going to confirm that they knew he was going to get waived, because just like they knew he wasn't going to be drafted to a team, he was going to be a undrafted free agent, that he was going to be humiliated and pushed down. That's what the waiver wire suggests. So if it goes like that, everybody's not on this podcast. They're not going to be so understanding. There's some people going to be upset. So we just going to wait for the fallout. And I'm hoping and praying it's Jacksonville. Oh, I'm going to be live when it does. I don't care if I'm on a 13-hour trip. I'm going live. I might have on a bonnet, but I have done that before. So I'm waiting. I'm just waiting because that's what I want. I don't want to hear nothing else about Cleveland. I don't like the way they treat Shedeur. And if you think he's temporary, you still can treat him with respect. You still can treat him like he's part of the team until he's not. That's why they won't do it, because it makes sense. You probably right about that, Jared. They won't make the trade because it makes sense. I was thinking what you were saying earlier, how they're not going to do nothing to benefit Shedeur. That's what I said. But apparently they see things a little different. They we need to unload him now. We don't want him. We'll give him to anybody. And sometimes that happens so you can get where you got to go. That's a God thing. But I do believe it was a blessing in disguise that he was not their number 2. The organization is just not set up properly for quarterbacks. 40 QB1s or QBs, 40 QBs that have taken snaps as starters, 40 in 25 years. So expeditiously, yes, I sound like T.I. Yes, expeditiously. That's all I want to hear. I don't want to hear nothing else. I don't care about what's going on over there. I just need Shedeur to get to Jacksonville. I feel like he'll be safe. I feel like he'll be safe. I'm like, gosh, talking about, well, we put him behind Dylan Gabriel because of the sacks. So you don't know why he was sacked. Oh, okay. All right. I can't do it. I just can't do it. If I ran into any of these people at Costco, it would be so hard. It would be so hard. Especially the GM. Oh my God. I would have to be like this. Oh Lord, it would be so hard. And I'm sure that they experience these types of things, but it would be very difficult. It would be very difficult. I have heard every question he's been asked, so I wouldn't repeat it. And I probably would just stare at the man. Oh Lord, have mercy. Yes, Lord, just get Shedeur to Jacksonville expeditiously, please, in Jesus' name. Amen. And then we're gonna go back around to the reason we were watching the draft. How many times did we sit up on this podcast and laugh and talk about if Shedeur is going to Tennessee? We was gonna drive down there, me, Gracie, and Regina, and buy us a Sanders jersey in person. In person. So now we're gonna shift to Jacksonville. We're gonna shift to Jacksonville. So fingers crossed, Lord have mercy. It said as Shedeur leaves, he'll probably lose his job from wanting a pick they really wanted because they were forced. Yeah. This is something that has to be fixed. And I don't know how it's going to be fixed, but clearly they were forced into it. And they're covering that up too. Why not just come out and say the obvious? You didn't want him. You was forced into it. Why? Why were they forced into it? That has not been discussed. I mean, we have theories. And I don't, as much as I'd like to say it was the prank, it was a combination. It was Trump and the combination of the prank. I'm like, do y'all not have a legal office? Do y'all not have a regulatory compliance office? Y'all are in so much trouble here. And that is why we know where the 2027 draft is. Trump announced it. It's in DC. They in trouble. When fans start suing leagues about the way players are treated, that's the one level of accountability that they didn't anticipate. And I don't know why. How could you not? I thought y'all knew who he was. You know who his father is. You know the prime effect is real. We've been knowing who he was since a kid. This young man has a following since he was in middle school, probably elementary school, because those kids were young on those shows. And I know Shedeur was. I didn't really watch those shows then, but they're on YouTube now. You can watch them now. People are connected to this kid. They were emotionally invested in his journey to the NFL. And the last thing we expected was to be lured to his public humiliation that was staged and premeditated. Yes, we'll do Jacksonville. Yes, we'll do a Jacksonville road trip. Yeah, I think that what she said podcast. I think if Shedeur go to Jacksonville, we are gonna all have to plan to meet up at Jacksonville. I don't know where y'all live at. We just gonna have to pick a random weekend and just all descend upon their merch shop and try to get these jerseys. If we can order them online and just pick them up in person and take a photo, we should do that. We should do that. And guess what else we should do as a podcast? We should file a class action lawsuit because we were watching the draft. We discussed countless times about going to get Shedeur's jersey, talking about Shedeur when he was younger. Remember, I put up the picture of him with the glasses on, showing that he always had, swag. He always was confident. We watched that draft together. We were upset. We were emotionally traumatized after what happened to him because we were expected to celebrate and find out where he was going. but we were unfortunately lured to his stage premeditated public humiliation. So yeah, I think we should do a class action lawsuit. I do. And we're gonna probably talk about it. It'll probably be a live stream that is private, so we can have uninterrupted conversation. But it's being looked into. It's being looked into. So stay tuned. Hit the like button. Hit the like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Anything mentally is an easy snatch. Yes, been watching Shedeur since he was about 5 years old. Yep, I know they were really young. Thank you for that, Caroline. I know they were pretty young. Let's do it. Gracie, I think we should do it. I think as fans, people been watching him. Like I said, if we sit down and let's just say there's 50 of us, because some people come on consistently every day. So you take that core group and we put together a class action lawsuit. And we all were live at the time. It's recorded, how upset I was, how upset other people were. They talked about it in the chat. We all have the connection, from Shedeur. We all see you fans. And again, the NFL seemed like they were trying to introduce us to Shedeur with their defamation, but we already knew who he was. So we knew they were tearing him down intentionally. You know how many videos where we were live in the chat? I go live every day. We have been talking about this nonstop since it happened. And we were planning leading up to it, even talking about how the media was unjustly tearing him down, and it made no sense. So we have the evidence. We have it. And people are in the chat. People who come every day who talked about how they felt. It's who should join the class action lawsuit. And it should be $10 billion because it's not new. And we have sat up here and talked about what they have been guilty of for days since it happened. It's documented. If you look at every thumbnail with Shedeur Sanders, that's what we were talking about. How upset we were, what they did to him, how bad it was, how it's not new. If somebody can take the information that we discussed and use it in their lawsuit against the NFL, then we as a podcast community can file our own class action lawsuit. We stayed up 3 days. Yes. I think we started going live up 2.5, almost 3 hours talking about this. We stayed up 3 days on Twitch. Yup. Hotter than fish grease. Yup. So, hit the like button. That's evidence you will. There are 102 likes, 114 people hit the like button. Hit the like button. Let's get it to match. So there's going to be more to talk about on that conversation, and it ain't going to be long. I already told y'all, I already talked to a lawyer and try to figure out the best way to go. I asked about the class action lawsuit. Where do you file it? What state would be best, because the NFL is in New York. And there's other people out here talking about this too. It's just, I think the price tag is too low. I think given the history, the ugly history, I think $10 billion is better, because they just settled a $1 billion lawsuit and they are still doing the same thing. So $10 million has got to be what it is. I think it was very wrong of the NFL to lure us to that, thinking we're getting ready to celebrate. See, the NFL draft is celebratory. I even have a post that somebody on the inside posted saying the NFL draft is supposed to be a celebration. And the fact that people are running around spreading false narratives. This was before the draft. It's embarrassing to the league. But then the league itself lifted the false narrative of entitlement that you have seen documented and heard from the New York Giants organization multiple times, to the point this crickets now, because it was defamatory. Even Coach Pollock put it out there. He had stopped lying on him. He has never had issues learning anybody's offense. He has had 6 offensive coordinators. This was intentional. It was staged. It was meant to harm. It was collusion. It was defamation. And it definitely was discriminatory. Something that's not new. That's why it shouldn't just be me that filed it. One individual already did it. We take it to the next level and do it as a group because we were all negatively affected. We are all have been emotionally invested in Shedeur. Whether you came on their reality shows when they were kids, or you came on at high school like I did, or you came on at Jackson State, or you came on at CU. The point is, you have spent days upon hours on this podcast, documented, discussing this young man's journey, how excited we were, how we planned to watch the draft. We counted down to the days. And then instead of finding out where he's going, we were lured, just like he was, to his public humiliation, and we were being dragged in as witnesses. We didn't ask for that. And I don't even know why they thought anybody would want to see that. And that is disturbing. Who did you think was watching this? Or did you not care? You lured him by making Cleveland, letting Cleveland keep talking to him, knowing that they made the decision to pivot away. And you lured us because we thought we was just going to find out what team he was going to so we can get a jersey. That's all we cared about. And we have talked about it. It's documented, as well as our emotional distress is documented on how upset we were. To the point I had to miss a whole day of streaming with y'all because I was so upset. We all were. I don't know who they thought the hell would want to see that. And that tells you about the people that's making the decisions. They're so short-sighted. And that's why they owe Deshaun Watson $230 million, which is likely double the money he had to pay out in settlements. They just gave it back to him. But then they ruined his reputation. That's going to stick with him forever. Sure, he'll have the money, but look at his reputation. Look at Shedeur. Look how he's being treated in Cleveland. Somebody need to sue them, for real. All they are doing is continuing on this same public humiliation down in Cleveland. Hell, we might get a 2-for-1. It's a lawsuit because they know everyone was invested in views, right? So they milked it, right? They actually had him on the hook thinking he's getting drafted. And they knew he was going to have a draft party. So they built him all the way up. And they were just going to let him fall till the prank was exposed and a very unlikely ally spoke up and asked them, was they stupid? And said, if you want to win, which is problematic if you don't. If you want to win, you will draft him immediately. Not a coincidence that he announced the 2027 draft in DC. So they exploited him for views. There were reporters that said it. The most popular player in the draft went in the 5th round. People are saying Shedeur Sanders is the most popular 5th round draft pick ever. 5th round draft picks only have a 4% chance of making the team. 4%. And then the floodgate open for all of our CU guys. Further collusion. Trying to hurt the program. That's why I said CU should be suing. That's who should be suing. They try to hurt their program. Take Coach Prime out of it. It's still CU's program. You know how much money that program made in year 1? Then year 2, and you trying to hurt it? Oh, So Coach Prime posted, let's move past. We used to be a family. He said something about we used to be a family. Chaos ensued. Let's move past it. Yada, yada, yada. So I told y'all this is betrayal at the highest level. Shedeur grew up with these people. Y'all know they love Coach Prime. Y'all just saw Jerry Jones basically try to get the impression that Coach Prime could actually be a coach in the NFL. Y'all heard Coach Prime say, I don't even have to interview for a head coaching job. And we all believed it. And then these people just turn around and sacrifice them like that. Because it meant more to the NFL to maintain the racial hierarchy at the QB1 position away from Black starting quarterbacks, QB1s being the majority, that they were willing to sacrifice Coach Prime and Shedeur. People that they've been knowing. I just told you at the NFL thing, they were all in the same rooms. The owner stopped Shedeur from getting his mom and dad together. Shedeur said that he was drafted early. He was going to hug the mom and dad together until they touched. Yeah, I don't know about that. I saw the way he leaned forward when she walked into the room. He's just not over whatever happened. I don't really know their situation, but I know that he don't trust it. That's what I'm gonna say. And I was thinking, so either he got another woman and he don't want to give no impression that there's something going on here, or he don't trust her at all. It's not just I don't like you, I don't trust you. But it was nice to see them all together. I really felt for her. My heart ached for her because y'all saw when Shedeur got the real phone call, how she was standing close by listening, trying to make sure somebody wasn't trying to play with her baby. That's her son. And I understand as a mom, I understand how she felt, and these people don't care how they made these people feel as long as they got what they wanted. And technically, they did. Instead of the majority with Shedeur Sanders leading the way at number 17 to 32, Black starting quarterbacks, it's at 16 Black, 16 white. That was their goal. But then the season got to come along. So again, it was short-sighted because Milroe is over there behind Sam Darnold throwing bombs. And Sam Darnold could get hurt. That's number 17. So all of this was futile. But it made them feel good that they could take him down a notch. But did they? I don't think so. I don't think so. I didn't see him crying. I didn't see him pouting. I didn't see him looking embarrassed. I really didn't. He just was like, they just don't think I'm good. That's what he said. He was asked by the little kid, young Dolph's son. He said, why they not drafted you yet? They don't think you're good? He said, yeah, they don't think I'm good. That's just what he said. This kid handled this. Shedeur handled this like a pro. That shows you that when we see him on the field, when the team is behind, he's not out here panicking. He's staying in the game. He's keeping them in the game. And they come back to win. That's who you want leading your team. But that's who Cleveland is choosing to try to further humiliate and take down a notch. You think they would stop. And that's why it should be $10 billion. They refuse to stop. So sometimes these things have to happen. So y'all have my email address. That's a good place for us to start a conversation about this. It don't matter who emailed me. You can put in the caption, class action lawsuit, and we'll just keep the thread going. And I can share some of the things that have already been discussed. He doesn't trust her because of the lies. Yeah, I knew it was something. Thank you, Gracie. I knew it was something to it. And for it to still be happening, it must have been pretty deep. It must have been a betrayal. That's what I'm thinking. His boy said they knew he would not be drafted in the first round. I mean, well, yeah, everybody knew that because the morning of the draft, it was said, well, it's a good thing Shedeur did not come to Green Bay after all because he was technically locked out of the first round. But did anybody expect him to go fifth? No. They thought second round. And again, the only reason that took place, if he would be drafted in the fifth round, just like Cam Ward, he would be QB1 on somebody's draft chart, making him 17 of 32. So locking him out of the first round was strategic by the NFL to try to prevent the 17 of 32. And it worked. Milroe got pushed further down too. And the further you get pushed down, as you can see, the way Cleveland is treated Shedeur, I don't care how talented you are. We got you for cheap in the fifth round. We're going to treat you like that. You are not starting here. Even if he is capable, they still stick with the mantra of the further down you go, regardless of how talented you are, somebody going to have to get hurt first. And that's what happened with Jalen Hurts. He was pushed down to number 53. Don't forget, he won a championship at Alabama after he was benched. And people have issue with that too. So These guys have had some serious hurdles put in their place in front of them to keep them from becoming starting quarterbacks in the NFL. At times, if they couldn't be switched off the wide receiver, they were relegated to QB2s. You know, they were the fame made to be fans, were fed lies that they just aren't that good. That's what they saying about Shedeur. He's just not that good. What? Y'all, we didn't meet him when y'all put him on the screen. We've been knowing who he is. That's why when Ryan Clark said maybe Coach Prime oversold Shedeur, let me be clear. Coach Prime has never sold us on Shedeur. We watched him play football. High school, 3 state championships, transformative. Jackson State, 2 SWAC championships after a 12-year drought and 2 Celebration Bowls, transformative. Colorado, you know the story. 1-9 and horrible before that. Transformative. First game, I will always give them credit for going 3-0 because I know they were sabotaged afterwards. I know they were sabotaged afterwards because Shedeur's nickname in the first game versus TCU was Mr. 500. And there were people who plotted to make sure he didn't get the throw for as many yards. That's why he was sacked like he was. And then year 2, going all the way to the Alamo Bowl, and I put out a video that said, was Shedeur Sanders punished by his own team? What did I say? And several thousand people liked it, and they saw the same thing. That's how they would try to take Shedeur down a notch, allowing him to be sacked excessively. The NFL, the same thing happens. If you look at the players who are sacked the most, the top 3 are black QBs. And if you look year by year, it's the rookies. The QB ones that start. Because there are a lot of people that don't like that. You weren't even supposed to be quarterback at all. Remember, they banned you. Tried to switch you off. So I got you anyway, because I guess I wanted to win. Now they don't even want to win. They're like, I don't even want to win no more. Now they taking over. Forget it. Because if they keep drafting us based on talent, we're going to keep getting there. And that's what this draft was. Shedeur's talent, elite. Milroe, elite talent, as well as Cam Ward. To me, that's why the media kept pigeonholing Shedeur as number 2. Because the second QB, whether it was Milroe or Cam, was going to be number 17. But the story didn't work with Cam. The story didn't work with Milroe because their daddies aren't in the league that they could scapegoat. They set it up that Coach Prime was a helicopter parent. And then when the fans pushed back against the media by saying Archie Manning did the same thing, they had to move on past that. Then they said Shedeur had a weak arm. Then it's like he the most accurate passer in college. Then they had to move on past that. Everything that they threw at this kid, fans came back and said, that's BS. He's not that good, but he's the best QB in the draft, the most NFL-ready QB. Won the Johnny Unitas Award, won Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. You can't negate facts. You can't negate facts. And they kept throwing, and that, again, that speaks to the short-sightedness. How are you trying to refute facts? You are telling us he is entitled. We have been watching this kid since middle school, and we have never seen an entitled bone in his body. We knew he was mature. You didn't. And that's why the plot, as humiliating as it was intended to be, it rolled off of his back like water. And that's why Cleveland is still trying to continue it to today, because they couldn't take him down and emotionally disrupt him. They didn't make him emotionally distraught. They made us emotionally distraught. And for that, somebody gonna pay. So that's why they still trying. And he's handling it with grace and class for such a young person. This is foolishness. We just want to see competitive football, not child's politics play out. If you don't want black starting quarterbacks to be the majority, sell your team to somebody that does, so we can get on with the game in the sport of competitive football. We are not going to sit here while y'all disrupt business and make it about preference and sacrificing talent and selling us a mediocre sport. No, it's not going to happen, which is why fans are beginning to sue, as they should. The NFL spent billions to get us emotionally invested in these players, and we be damned if you're going to put one of them on an auction block and publicly humiliate him like he's a damn slave. It ain't happening. It's not happening. You tried it. And you're still trying it. And we're going to be here. And more fans will band together and file class action lawsuits to hold the NFL accountable. Because I don't know who they thought wanted to watch them publicly humiliate a good kid. So we're going to get ourselves together and get out of here. We almost at even and even. 121 of us in here, 109. Get the like button up, get the like button up, get the like button up. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so I think we touched on everything we want to talk about. So let's address the comments. There's my prayer. Dear God, please let Shedeur Sanders get traded to Jacksonville expeditiously. In Jesus' name, amen. I'm going to pray it every day until I see Shedeur and the turquoise, not the Panthers, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Oh, I can't wait till that happens. Now, you talk about some excitement. I'm going to be like, now, how long is it from Jacksonville to Atlanta? Because I think it's like, is it 3 hours? Is it 3 hours? I'm going to just want to drive down there just to take a picture in front of the stadium of what's to come. That's how excited we were for the draft. We just thought it was going to be Tennessee. So, but that's fine too. So yeah, it's true. If he gets released, just like I said, to summarize, it's a blessing in disguise that Shedeur Sanders was not taken number 2 overall to Cleveland. They are not equipped to develop elite QB talent. They have had 40 quarterbacks take snaps as starters in 25 years. They have 5 quarterbacks. Somebody got to go. And the poll that we put out earlier, it seems the consensus of 51% say Kenny Pickett is the one that's going to get let go, meaning Cleveland will be left with Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, and Joe Flacco. I personally don't want Shedeur in Cleveland at all. So Pickett can keep his job. If Shedeur is the person that is going to Jacksonville, which is why I think they gave him the number 12, he did not have a choice in the matter. They need to handle his being released or traded with care. We are not here for the bullshit at all. You've been warned. You've been warned. All right. So if you think it's an anonymous John Doe in Georgia, it's gonna be some more. Bro said 100 mil easy. Yeah, he did say 100 mil, but to be honest with you, the price is too low. The price tag is too low, but I'm not mad at him. I'm not mad at him at all. I'm happy he did it because it has inspired other people who didn't realize that they could attempt to hold the NFL accountable for their past misdeeds with this draft and just tack on the history. And it's more than $100 million. They don't want that to come out. That's why I started this podcast off with saying, well, you see who announced the 2027 draft in DC because they need protection. Does anybody know what a 2026 draft is without looking it up? No. So why was it so important for that announcement to be made by number 47 and about the 2027 draft when we have no idea what's going on with 2026? Because they are trying to get the message to people who are planning these lawsuits that they have allies. Do they? And maybe if certain conditions are met, and I know somebody that want to buy the Saints. So, hey, that's why it's strategic about the timing, because there will be forces at bay to mock the lawsuits, even though they have a case, and try to paint a picture, just like they did with Shedeur. They try to paint us a picture as if we didn't know who Shedeur Sanders was, which again speaks to the short-sightedness. They act like they had Shedeur from an egg and say, look who we have. And then they told us about him. Hello? This young man has 3 million followers. And if they all partner up with somebody to watch a game or go to a tailgate, that's 5.5 million easy. 3 million plus 1. Take the 2/3 rule when you invite people to functions on who's going to show up. 5.5 million people, which is why he has Nike, he has Gatorade, he has Delta Airlines, and he has Ralph Lauren. So they should have kept their little jealousies to themselves and conducted business. Something the fans showed up to see. A celebratory event, not a staged, premeditated public humiliation. I will say it every day if that's what I gotta do. Because I was not happy. Matter of fact, I started to take the video down of how upset I was. Luckily, it's buried in a 4 hour video that most people probably won't see if they weren't live because ain't nobody watching me live stream for 4 hours. But if you just happen to take that video and just let it play on your TV while you cleaning your house, you're gonna be like, God damn, she was upset. Jerry was like, are you okay? I'm like, and I started to take it out, but I'm glad I didn't because that's my evidence. That is my evidence. It sure is. And I don't care if they take it down. I still have it. I still have it. So understand that. Understand it. The spy who what? Who what? Oh, humor. Oh, okay. Let's see. So y'all, we're gonna get ourselves out of here. All right, 108 of us, 115 likes. I'll take it. I'll take it as people get ready to say goodnight. So we're gonna get out of here. We'll be back tomorrow. Jimmy Horn Jr. doing his thing down in Carolina. Oh, we forgot to talk about it. The news came out that Will Shepherd failed his physical, so he couldn't sign with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Did y'all hear about that? So we might need to, I might have to do some research on it tonight, and maybe we'll follow up and wish him the best tomorrow. That has to be heartbreaking. Didn't get invited to the combine, didn't get drafted, but he was offered a free, undrafted free agency contract. And then he failed his physical. So maybe something with his health is underlying that he wasn't aware of. And that has to be very painful for him. So we'll follow up on it tomorrow. I'll put that on the agenda just so we can keep him in our prayers and just for clarity, understand what's going on, maybe show him some love. And hopefully it's temporary. Hopefully it's not anything as severe as like what happened to Bronny James. And people thought Bronny James' career, had to be was going to be interrupted or ended early. So hopefully this is just a temporary setback because this young man has worked so hard to get here. And unfortunately, it does happen with these players where they take physicals and they find out about a heart issue, something that a team doctor can't let them move forward with. And I'm not saying that's what it is. Well, Will is just an example. So we'll follow up with Will Shepherd tomorrow. So that's it for tonight. Thank y'all so much. Again, email me at what she said. What is it? What she said. It's in the bio. I don't even know what it is. It's in the bio. I think it's what she said. I don't know what it is. Yeah, just look at the bio. Just look in the bio and hit me an email if you have a question about anything as we proceed with this class action lawsuit. All right. Thank y'all so much. We'll see y'all later. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Moderators, I appreciate y'all. My day ones, what she said, fam, Kiel, Gracie, thank y'all so much. And friends, 400 Circle Media. I don't know if you joined us today. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Darlene. We have new members. Thank y'all so much. Y'all's names actually show up on the page header now, just to make sure that y'all are acknowledged as being supporting members of the podcast. And as we continue to grow, hopefully more people will join. So thank y'all. Thank y'all so much. And I look forward to hearing from y'all via email. All right. So I'll see y'all later. Until tomorrow, thanks for watching What She Said Sports. %52 of people say Kenny Pickett is the one who will be released from the team. All right, so that's going to always be in the chat. Y'all can go back and look at that at any time. Just look at the chat replay. All right, y'all. Good night, good night, good night, good night, good night.